All right, you guys. So, really appreciate all of you guys that are going to join in today. Salute to all of you guys. I don't know why my system is chopping up a little bit. Hopefully, it'll be all right. Let me change something up. All right, so yeah, there we go. Um, Appreciate all y'all that's gonna come in here. Yes, we definitely gonna get into this today. Most def, we get into this today, as this is one of them situations, y'all, where man, they have forced the music mogul Russell Simmons' hand um, in one of his sexual assault cases. I talked about this on my other channel, Ticket TV Overtime. A lot of y'all not subscribed to that channel. The link is going to be in the description box below this video. So make sure that you guys stay tuned, stay tapped into what we got going on. And make sure y'all subscribe to all my channels. The links are all going to be in the description box below this video. But let's talk about this. So Russell Simmons, who have successfully in other situations been able to use the fact that he is moved to Bali in a lot of these different situations, it seems like now that excuse or that situation is out of the window. Now, I want to let you guys, I want to read this article out of Complex, and then we're going to have a conversation real quick about Russell Simmons and what he has going on. Now, Russell Simmons was accused of doing the unthinkable by another woman. Yo, this is crazy. This man got so many allegations against him. It's man, bro. It seems like all the people we looked up to growing up, they all like got a series of allegations against him. You know, I even had a rush card before. You know, I don't use it no more, but years ago I had a rush card. It's like, bro, how do these guys have all of these different allegations against them? That's crazy to me. Yeah, I know they're saying my audio's going in and out. I know. I'm trying to. I don't know what's going on, man. Sometimes they be acting crazy. Like y'all know how it go. You know. Can y'all hear me good? I know it's been chopping up, man. Yeah, hold on. Y'all let me know if this is better. Hold on. Just give me 1 second. I tested it right before I came in here, and now I want to act crazy. You know what I'm saying? Now I want to act crazy, right? So I apologize. That seems like a little bit better now. Maybe a little bit. But I apologize for that. You heard me? To the brother in the comment section, I don't talk about basketball. I don't know where you've been. I don't talk about basketball on my channel. I haven't talked about basketball in almost 4 or 5 months. I don't talk about basketball anymore. So when you ask where's the video, it's never going to be a video. I don't talk about basketball anymore. Anyways, so Russell Simmons, he has another accuser, man. And this time the judge is saying, yo, hey, it don't matter. You got to show up. Yo, this is crazy. So it says Russell Simmons' R-word lawsuit to proceed despite him living abroad, a judge rules, right? Now, here we have it right here. It says a former Def Jam executive filed a lawsuit against Russell Simmons in 2024, alleging that he R-worded her while she worked in the company in the 90s. Now it says oh, okay, I see what it is. It says Russell Simmons, despite the fact that he lives in a foreign country, will face a lawsuit accusing him of R-word, a judge has ruled. According to Billboard, Judge Adam Silvera of the New York State Court rejected attempts from Russell Simmons and his legal team to dismiss a civil suit alleging that he R-worded a Def Jam executive while she worked at the company in the 90s, which was originally filed in 2024 in federal court. Last year, a federal judge said the lawsuit couldn't proceed because it was outside of the court's jurisdiction, because Russell Simmons has lived in Indonesia since 2018. Now, following a ruling from a federal judge, the anonymous executive refiled the lawsuit in state court, which the judge is now saying that lawsuit can proceed. Now, let's get back into it. It says the complaint alleges that Russell Simmons committed the tort of R-word in New York State. Silvera wrote in the filing, that's the judge, a court may exercise personal jurisdiction over any non-domiciliary who commits a torturous act within the state, except as to a cause of action for defamation. Therefore, the complaint survives the motion to dismiss stage. So, basically, to explain to you guys in layman terms, Russell Simmons tried to get this lawsuit dismissed. He tried to get it thrown out, and the judge says, "No, I ain't throwing it out." The judge says, "No, we're not throwing this lawsuit out. You're gonna bring your ass to New York, and you're gonna face this lawsuit. Period. You're gonna face this case." And so Russell Simmons, he moved to Indonesia in 2018. The article says, shortly after a wave of people accused him of sexual assault and misconduct. Among the individuals who have since accused Russell Simmons of assault before the following move abroad included model Kerry Clausen, writer Jenny Lumet, filmmaker Jennifer Gerosi, plus a number of other anonymous women. Now, Russell Simmons' lawyers have continually argued that the lawsuit should not proceed because he does not live in the United States anymore. They also argued that it should be dismissed because she signed a severance agreement in 1997, though the accuser's attorneys claim the alleged agreement was a sham with forged signatures. So they're saying that Russell Simmons, they're accusing him of forging this woman's signature on a severance agreement so that he wouldn't have to worry about her paying her or going to court or any of this stuff. Bro, this is disgusting. This is disgusting work. And Russell Simmons, and like I said, he moved out of the country once all these women started coming out here with these goddamn allegations against him. And he has ducked a lot of this smoke until now. It says the lawsuit is set to proceed to the discovery stage. That means they go into the evidence stage, wherein both parties' respective legal teams will exchange evidence and speak to witnesses. This is bad. This is bad. This is bad for Russell Simmons, man. And the reason why this is bad for Russell Simmons is Russell Simmons, he does not want this type of smoke. Trust what I tell y'all this. He don't want this smoke. Russell Simmons, the last thing Russell Simmons want is them people breathing down his neck. That's the last thing he want, right? Is them people breathing down his neck on this case. He don't want that smoke, man. Because I'm going to tell y'all something. What that's going to do is other people who may have similar issues is going to start hiking them up to come at him in the same way. And hold on. And we got to get into this. So Russell Simmons' situation goes back. And we got to, this is something that is wild, man. His situation, so the judge is like, yo, no, you're coming. I don't care where you live at. This happened here, allegedly, so you're going to come here. And so, you know, his allegations are wild. Like, his public scrutiny, it did begin with that model that I mentioned in this article by the name of Kerry Clausen, right? She accused Russell Simmons of sexually assaulting her during an encounter in 1991, and she said she was only 17 at the time. Now, later that month, a screenwriter came out by the name of Jenny Lumet and accused Russell Simmons of the same thing from 1991. In response, Russell Simmons, he issued a partial apology and announced he was stepping down from his businesses, including Def Jam Recordings, All Def Digital, and his lifestyle yoga brands, right? So that's what Russell Simmons did, in exchange for that. Now, on top of that, right? In December 2017, both the New York Times and the LA Times published investigative reports featuring on-the-record accounts from multiple women on this cat. Bro, this is crazy. The allegations, which spanned from 1983 to 2016, detailed a range of misconduct from predatory behavior at business meetings to violent R-wording, right? So from that report, right, the accusers, Drew Dixon, a former Def Jam executive. Now this is she said, right? This is a former Def Jam executive who detailed a prolonged period of sexual harassment before she alleged that Russell Simmons awarded her in 1995. Then you had a woman named Sherry Hines who came out, a member of the hip hop group Mercedes Ladies. She accused Russell Simmons of awarding her in his office in 1983. Then you had a girl by the name of Tina Baker, right? Not Tina Turner, Tina Baker, right? Or they called her Tina B. She was a singer, and she alleged that Russell Simmons all-worded her at his apartment in 1990, around 1990, 1991, when he was her manager. Bro, this is nasty, bro. And then you had the On the Record documentary that came out in 2020. So the documentary On the Record premiered, y'all, focusing on the stories of several of Russell Simmons' accusers, particularly Drew Dixon, Still Lie Abrams, and Alexia Norton Jones. Those three women. Now the film, it detailed the personal and professional toll, I should say, of those alleged assaults, and it addressed the difficulties black women face when speaking out against powerful figures within the music industry. Then you had Russell Simmons, right? So he came out, he's vehemently and consistently denied all these allegations of all word and non-consensual sexual encounters, while some of the civil suits were initially filed by accusers such as the filmmaker Jennifer Jaworski. Many were dismissed due to the expiration of the statute of limitations, you guys. So basically in 2024, February 2024, a former Def Jam video producer filed a federal lawsuit in New York against Russell Simmons, right? Under Jane Doe. And basically she alleged that he, all-worded her, sexually assaulted her in the 1990s, right? So the Drew Dixon lady came back and filed a defamation suit against Russell Simmons in 2024. And Russell Simmons moved to dismiss that lawsuit, but as I told you, the judge have allowed that one to move forward. Then he had unpaid settlements in the late 2024 and 2025, you guys. Court filings had revealed that Russell Simmons had defaulted on confidential settlement agreements, allegedly owing millions of dollars to several of his accusers, including the Still Lie Abrams woman and a woman by the name of Tony Sally, right? Now, due to those ongoing legal battles and his relocation, Russell Simmons has primarily resided in Indonesia since 2018. Russell Simmons got his ass out of here, bro. Russell Simmons said, Weezy out of here, bro. Russell Simmons got his ass out of here, bro. Yo, he dipshit. He left the whole country. So here we go right here, right? My bad, you guys, about the static, man. I don't know. I got to fix it, man. I don't know what it is. I'm trying to, hold on, let me see something, you guys. Y'all got to let me know if this is better. Hold on. Everybody in the chat. Hold on, chat. Chat, is that better, chat? Am I better right now? Is it still static, chat? Y'all let me know in the comment section if it's still static. If it ain't no static, I changed the mic. If it ain't no static, then I just got to get a new mic today. Y'all let me know. Hold on. Matter of fact, I'm going to check it myself. Let me see something, you guys. I apologize for that. It's still static? Hold on. I'm about to check it right now.
Yeah, totally.
Hold on. Check it right now. Let me see. It's still static. For that. It's still static. Hold on. Oh, okay. It's the same way. Okay, yeah. Then it's the It's not me, you guys. It's the actual. Bro, these applications, man. I don't know what the hell wrong with these applications, man. Unbelievable stuff. Hold on, you guys. Let me clear some of this. I'm about to see. Hold on. I got a great computer system. I don't know why it's acting like that. I have a great computer system. Somebody said it's good on the end. Okay, cool. No problem. All right. Yeah, man. I don't know. Hey, bro, this don't be acting crazy. I don't change my system up as far as the program software 2 times now. Right? I don't know why it's acting like that, but we'll get it right. I'll fix it somehow. We'll get through it. But as I was saying to you guys, Russell Simmons got the hell out of here, bro. Once all that shit start going down, Russell Simmons, and I'm not even using StreamYard no more. StreamYard was bad, and I started using a different network service. So I don't use StreamYard anymore. But as I was saying to you guys, Russell Simmons, bro, this is wild right here, bro. If you're Russell Simmons, how do you move away, still got all these judgments that they say is racked up against you, and now another case which you had gotten thrown out in the, uh, federal level, it went back to the state level, and the judge says, no, 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 you're gonna have to come over here. I don't care where you live at. You got to come over here and face this case, right? So basically, but here's the thing that Russell Simmons is lucky about. He's lucky that this case we're talking about right here on your screen, he's lucky that case cannot turn criminal for him, right? The only way it can turn criminal, and I'm going to explain this to you guys, is if Russell Simmons doesn't go to court. Now, this case that he's facing right here, that he got to come back to New York for, it can't turn criminal because the criminal statute of limitations for the alleged 1990s actions have completely expired. And remember, you're not talking about somebody in this case that was supposed to be not of age, so that has expired. It says a New York State judge, basically, like I told y'all, he ruled that the case can officially proceed despite him living overseas, right? But and here's the reason why, right? Basically, the civil case is allowed, but the criminal's not allowed. A lot of people ask this question, like, yo, how can you go after somebody civilly? And a lot of people feel like, man, to hit you in the worst way is to hit you in your pockets. A lot of people say, well, why not go criminal? Because a lot of these people think if they hit you in your pockets, it's gonna be worse for you than going to jail. Some of these people care more about their money than they do actually going to prison. Because if they go to prison for a few years, they got their money. When they get out, they still got their bread. But if you strip that bread and their resources and their reputation is destroyed, then that's, now some people, they just only care about the money, depending on who it is, and that's their form of what they call justice. Everybody has their own thought process on what they want justice to be for themselves, right? So that's why I don't never really get to that as far as, oh yeah, they're only looking for money. How can I tell somebody who's violated what they want to look for? Think about that. Allegedly, if somebody violated you, to me, you should have the choice to what type of punishment you want that person to have, whether you want it to be civil or criminal, right? If it's true, right? Now, if it's not true, then the term should be flipped on you. See, this is the part that people don't tell y'all that I say. If these allegations are not true, then the term should be flipped on the other person. Straight like that, right? But rarely do y'all see that. For example, Stefan Diggs, he went to court with that girl, the chef, the thick BBL, thicked up chef. He went to court with her, right? He was found not guilty in court. She comes out of court dropping more receipts, going on his helmet. Why he ain't sued her? You were found not guilty in court. Why he ain't sue? Why he ain't turn around and sue her? Now, I know what people gonna say. Oh, she ain't got nothing ticket. Okay, now. Right? But that's why I've always said it should be able to be criminal. I've always stated that. What do I mean? If somebody accuses you of something and it's not true, they make false allegations against you, and it's proven that those allegations were false, you should be able to have criminal charges against them. Right? I feel that way. Let me say this again. So, every accuser that comes out and lies on a person, right, and could potentially put that person in prison behind a lie, I believe that the table should be turned and it should be a criminal prosecution against them. That's what I believe. For lying. Period. Because some of those people don't got no money. So it's like, what are you going after? Okay, that's why I believe. That's why I don't like the laws. Because if the law was right, in my opinion, you should be able to criminally prosecute those other people. Period. Now, the civil cases are allowed, right? Because New York has an Adult Survivors Act, right? And Gender Motivated Violence Act. Those pieces of legislation created temporary look-back windows, right? They allow survivors to file civil lawsuits for monetary damages regarding decades-old sexual assaults, completely bypassing the original expiration dates. Now, the criminal case is off because, like I said, New York eliminated, why they eliminated the criminal statute for limitations of first-degree R-word in 2006. That law wasn't retroactive, you guys. So under the U.S. Constitution's ex post facto clause, the state cannot retroactively apply a new criminal timeline to acts committed before the law was passed. Sound kind of crazy, right? But it is what it is. So basically, because those alleged assaults, occurred in the 90s, prosecutors are bound by a strict 5-year criminal statute of limitations that was active at that time. So those 5 years ran out decades ago, meaning that local district attorneys are legally prohibited from bringing criminal charges at that time. That's unless you're dealing with somebody who's not of age. Now, that's different. There ain't no statute of limitations on that in most places. Some places might go 20 years, something like that, or before they turn 40, blase, something like that. But a lot of them don't have no statute of limitations, right, for people who weren't of the age, right? So basically, his allegations, Russell Simmons is lucky. He's lucky in one way, but I'm going to tell y'all something. They can F with him. All the allegations Russell Simmons got against him right now were like in the 90s, I guess early 2000s, something like that, 80s, 90s, stuff like that. So none of the current public allegations that have come out against Russell Simmons, with all the women that came out, you guys, none of them can be prosecuted criminally. So because the statute of limitations have entirely expired for all of these allegations, right? Unless a new accuser would have come forward with a highly recent allegation from within the last few years, depending on the state, Russell Simmons faced zero risk of jail time or criminal prosecution in these cases, right? So basically, like I said, the 1980s and 1990s claims, the vast majority of those claims, including the active 2024 New York lawsuit filed by a former Def Jam executive, alleged assaults that occurred in the 1980s and 1990s. At that time, the New York and California had strict criminal statutes of limitations, typically 5 years. Those deadlines passed years ago. Now, here's the only thing. The only thing that it could open a window is a RICO. Because a RICO, they can go through a whole time period. See what I'm saying? They can try to, show a situation where with a RICO type of activity that will cover a broader base of time. But you haven't heard of nothing like that with Russell Simmons. You see what I'm saying? So basically, the 2016 California claim, which in 2018 a filmmaker came out, Jennifer Jarosik, and she had filed a lawsuit against Russell Simmons saying that he assaulted her in 2016. Now, while that's much more recent, California's criminal statute of limitation for R-word at that time was 10 years. That window closed this year. So because no criminal charges were filed by prosecutors before the deadline, that criminal prosecution is now barred. So he just missed the window for that too. Or that girl, she just missed the window for that, to get that to be a criminal situation, right? So all this stuff is wild, I'm telling y'all about. Also, you guys, the U.S. Constitution strictly prohibits the government from retroactively charging criminal statutes of limitations to prosecute someone for an old crime after the original time limit has expired. So, for Russell Simmons to face criminal charges today, one of these two things would have to happen to him. He'd have to have a brand new accusation where a woman had to come forward and say that within the last couple of years, Russell Simmons did something to her and had to have proof, or perjury charges. In 2019, Russell Simmons, he signed a sworn affidavit in the civil court stating under oath, right, "I have never had non-consensual sex," end quote. So if the prosecutors could definitely prove in a court of law that he lied under oath in that specific 2019 document, he could theoretically face criminal perjury charges. However, perjury is notoriously difficult to prove in a historical sexual assault context, and the prosecutors have shown no intention of pursuing that against Russell Simmons. Now, if Russell Simmons fails to participate or to appear in the New York civil case that he has right now, the judge will likely use a default judgment against him, meaning that he would automatically award that plaintiff a certain amount of money, right? So if he refused to answer the lawsuit or show up to New York for that proceeding, the plaintiff can ask the judge for a default judgment, and the court assumes the defendant has no defense, accepts the plaintiff's allegations as true for the purposes of the lawsuit, and rules in the plaintiff's favor without even a standard trial, right? We've seen this happen to multiple celebrities before. Also, mandatory witness deposition, right, you guys? Mandatory witness deposition. That is a situation, okay? Mandatory witness deposition. Well, what are we talking about? Well, this is what we're talking about. Hold on, y'all. So before the trial begins, both sides must exchange evidence and sit down for sworn interviews known as depositions. If the judge orders Russell Simmons to give a deposition and he refuses, he can be held in civil contempt of court. The judge can issue severe evidentiary sanctions, such as blocking his legal team from presenting any evidence or testimony to defend him at the trial, right? And it can go to financial collection and asset seizure, meaning if the plaintiff wins a massive financial judgment, you guys, due to his absence, collecting that money from Bali, Indonesia is difficult, but it's not impossible, meaning the plaintiffs can target any of his remaining U.S.-based assets, including domestic bank accounts, music royalties such as past Def Jam catalog streams, business entities or intellectual property registered in the U.S. So Russell Simmons has a history of legal friction regarding the payments. Court records from the late 2025 revealed he has already defaulted over $3 million to $8 million in confidential settlements promised to other accusers. If he refuses to engage with this active lawsuit in New York, the resulting court-ordered debts will simply be added to his growing U.S. liabilities, right? And basically, he doesn't risk being arrested for skipping the trial because it's a civil, so a judge can't issue a criminal arrest warrant or demand extradition from Indonesia simply because he skipped court. Those penalties remain strictly bound by, financial loss, you guys, and forfeiture of his ability to defend his name in the court of law, right? But I want to say this to you guys, right? Here's the thing, right? He has minimal criminal exposure, but a lot of civil exposure, right? So if he refuses to comply with the direct court orders, now that can trigger criminal contempt of court charges. That carries separate penalties, right? So in most cases, if a defendant refused to respond or appear in a civil lawsuit, prosecutors do not get involved. Instead, the judge orders a default judgment, as I told y'all. So the plaintiff automatically wins. The court orders the defendant to pay the requested financial damages, and the legal system handles this as a massive binding civil debt rather than a criminal offense. Now, it gets sticky. If a judge issues a specific mandatory order that requires Russell Simmons' direct compliance, such as a subpoena requiring him to give a deposition, which is a sworn testimony, or hand over financial documents, ignoring those orders, that moves the case to a whole different legal territory now, right? So basically, you have civil contempt and you have criminal contempt, you guys. In a civil contempt, like if a judge finds him in civil contempt, the purpose is to force compliance under New York law. So a judge can issue a civil arrest warrant or a bench warrant. That authorizes law enforcement to arrest him and hold him in jail until he agrees to comply with the order, such as sitting for his deposition, right? Criminal contempt. So this is the reason why, let me say this. This is why y'all saw Donald Trump do his deposition. It's on the internet. Like, let me show y'all this. If you look, like even Donald Trump, the president of the United States of America, when he had all these allegations, he had to go sit his ass down and do his deposition. He had to go sit his, because if not, they can arrest your ass, right? If not, they can arrest you. If you don't sit down and do your deposition, matter of fact, let me show y'all this. They can arrest you. Hold on. Why did I take this off the screen? There you go. You see that? It's on YouTube. That's Donald Trump's depositions, bro. So even the president of the United States of America was forced to do sworn depositions. Now, that was one of his allegations of R word. He had to sit down and do the deposition. And in that deposition, he was asked about his comments of grab him by the you-know-whats. So they will sit your ass down and make you answer these questions. They'll do that to you, right? So you have civil contempt, right? And then you have criminal contempt. So the criminal contempt, you guys, will be like if Russell Simmons' legal team or Russell Simmons himself goes beyond passive absence and displays flagrant, willful, or public defiance that mocks or actively challenges the authority of the New York State Supreme Court, a judge can escalate the charges to criminal contempt. Now, criminal contempt is punishable. It's a misdemeanor offense designed to penalize disrespect to the judiciary, right? So basically, it's like this, right? Even if a New York judge issues a civil bench warrant or a misdemeanor criminal contempt charge, it will not result in his arrest as long as he stays in Bali. He'll have to stay in Bali for the rest of his life or overseas. Now, Russell Simmons does come back to the United States of America, and that's the real danger. If he ever came back to the United States of America, the minute he steps foot on American soil, he'll be arrested. There'll be an active bench warrant for him for contempt, and he'll be detained immediately at the airport. So that's the only, right now, situations that he faced, right? Now, him moving overseas, like the asset situation, right? So everybody's like, oh, ticket. He ain't got to worry about it. He went overseas. Well, listen, if Russell Simmons was to like move every single dollar he had out of the United States, right? Then collecting these civil judgments does become harder, but it doesn't make the accusers powerless, right? So in high-stakes civil litigation, plaintiffs utilize aggressive domestic laws and international corporate tracings to capture assets, right? So if he successfully moves everything outside of the country, his accusers would have to navigate a complex legal landscape to seize those things, right? What do I mean? So here's the thing, right? So let's say his money sits in an offshore bank or foreign shell company. The U.S. courts still have personal jurisdiction over Russell Simmons himself, right? So the person who said Russell Simmons not coming back, oh, he's forced to come back. He has to come back. To the person who said in the comment section, your name is O. Lauren, you say he's not coming back, he has to come back. He's been ordered to come back by a judge. He has to come back. You didn't see the or maybe you didn't see the article. He's been forced to come back. He has to come back, right? Not only does he have to come back, they're going to make him show his financial records. So to the person who said that, this is why we're doing this video, because they forced him to come back. The judge just ruled he has to come back to face his accuser in New York. See how people just come on YouTube and say anything? And here's the problem with Russell Simmons. Russell Simmons frequently comes back to the United States, even though he doesn't live in the United States. He frequently comes to see you just jumped in right in your mouth. This is what people do on YouTube, though. Oh, Lauren, I ain't mad at you, but I am mad at you because you got to, like, you know, read the article. You got to do your research. People say stuff on the internet and don't know. You know, the judge just ruled on this. That's why we talking about this right now. In all of his other cases, he's been able to avoid that smoke. But Russell's not a guy who hasn't came back. People don't understand this. Russell Simmons been coming back to the United States. He just don't live here in the United States. He don't live in the United States. So he been coming back to the United States of America all the time. He just lives overseas, right? He just lives overseas. So the judge said, "No, you can't use that as an excuse. You're going to bring your ass back over here. These allegations happen over here," right? So here you have it right here, right? So basically, even if his money's in offshore accounts, this and the third, a New York judge can use coercive civil remedies that target his international holdings indirectly, meaning there's things you call turnover orders, where the judge, you guys, what he can do is he can order Russell Simmons to personally wire his foreign assets back to his U.S. escrow account. And if he refuses to do it, he'll be held in contempt of court, fined daily, and issued a bench warrant. Right? So a judge can do, I'm giving y'all all the things a judge can do. So the judge, he literally can go a criminal route. And this is the reason why even Donald Trump sat down and did his deposition. The judge can do a criminal route. He can say, okay, you want to be an asshole. You don't want to wire the money back to the account to pay these people. Okay, we're going to hold you in contempt of court. We're going to fine you every single day. And we're going to issue a bench warrant for your arrest. Right? And every day you refuse to do it, they just add on more time to you. So you also have the double whammy on the royalty streams. So because Russell Simmons co-founded Def Jam, right? Meaning platforms like Spotify or Apple and publishing, houses pay royalties that originate from the United States corporate entities, right? So even if he tries to assign these royalties to a Bali-based company, a U.S. judge can issue a changing order directly at the domestic source, seizing the money before it even leaves America. Also, you have fraudulent transfer claims situation. So that's basically if Russell Simmons, you guys, suddenly move money into a relative's name or an offshore entity, specifically to avoid paying his accusers. The court can rule it as a fraudulent conveyance. So the judge can basically legally invalidate the transfer and order the seizure of equivalent assets or target the third parties who helped him hide it. Right? So if his accusers try to follow his money directly to Bali, they face a lot of legal bottleneck like backlash because Indonesia does not recognize or directly enforce U.S. civil court judgments. That's why he's smart to move over there. But it is a problem too. Right? And the United States has no reciprocal enforcement treaty with Indonesia. Right? So he know what time it is, but yeah, it's the plaintiffs, they would have to go to Indonesia and sue Russell Simmons, which they ain't doing. Right? Right? And the U.S. judgment, they can't ask the Indonesian judge to basically use the New York ruling. They would have to have a whole new situation in Indonesia. Plus, the Indonesian panel of judges will maintain total discretion over that. So they can reject the claim entirely if they feel the U.S. civil trial violated local contempts of public order or policy. Right? My bad, you guys. I don't know what's going on. I know it's not me, man. My connection say clean. I'm going to call the people to come over and check this shit, man. I'm going to do that, man. Real talk, you guys. Right? Now, here's what's been going on, y'all. And I'm going to tell y'all, it's a catch-22. It's an international catch-22. And I'm finna tell y'all this. The international catch-22 is this, you guys. While Indonesia is a safe, asset haven, right? It's a safe place to hide or put your assets right in Indonesia. Russell Simmons' accusers have noted in court filings that he continues to travel and attempt to build a business empire across Southeast Asia and the Middle East, specifically Singapore and Dubai. Unlike Indonesia, financial hubs like Singapore have much stricter international mechanisms for tracking corporate fraud and enforcing certain foreign money judgments. If Russell Simmons moves money through international banking networks, uses Western credit cards, or tries to clear funds through global hubs to fund his lifestyle, plaintiffs can file what they call a Mariva, right? A Mariva injunction, right? Basically a freezing order in those specific jurisdictions to lock down his international capital, right? So it just makes it an uphill battle. Russell Simmons moving to Indonesia, he knew what he was doing. That man, Russell Simmons didn't get to where he's at for no reason. He didn't get all that money and didn't get to that level for no reason. You have to have some type of common sense to be able to be at that level. Right? Let's just tell the truth. He's not nobody's fool. And that's the truth. But they're gonna make it a fight for him in this situation in the courts. Trust me when I tell y'all this. They're gonna make it a situation where he's gonna have to stand on this. You know? He definitely gonna stand on this. So we'll see. Me personally, you guys, he's already got a lot of money he owes, millions of dollars still. Right? Yo, Biggie, salute to Compton, man. You already know, dog. We'll see. But as I told you guys, and I want to say this, like, a lot of people that accuse people of stuff, some of these people don't really have money like that, and they're seeking money. I'm a person. I feel like if you lie on a person, you should be criminally prosecuted. Right? And I'm willing to talk about it both ways. I love just type of stuff, like, just, I love, true crime stuff, case law stuff. I love it. I study in paperwork. I just educate myself. So I love doing this type of content. You know what I mean? I don't love the fact that, we have all these allegations against all these people, but I cover it all. So you guys, y'all stay tuned on all my other channels too. We talk about a lot of different stories and stuff online and things just going on, man. I just give you guys my perspective on everything. And again, shout out to everybody who's been donating, supporting the channel. All y'all been in the Cash App, PayPal. Salute to all of y'all, man. I be seeing y'all in here and showing love, man. And y'all make sure y'all check those links too. You know what I mean? I know my mic is messing up. I'm gonna try to fix what's going on with this connection. I don't know if it's in the application, because it just started acting like that. Maybe I gotta just restart the application after this video's over with. Right? So we'll see. Right? We'll see what happens. But you guys definitely, right? Y'all gotta let me know what y'all feel on this. Most def. Like, share, and subscribe. Sorry for the cracking in the mic. I apologize for that. I'll fix it. I'm trying to fix it in between videos, man. I don't know why. I knew what was going on because I was hearing it coming through my headset. So, yeah, most def. I got the people supposed to be coming working on this stuff anyways, man. Yeah, I already know what it is, man. Salute, big dog status, man. Hey, we always appreciate the support, and if you guys want to do so, you can use the Cash App or PayPal links. They'll be in the description box below this video or pinned at the top of the comments. The top donators will be announced every month. All right, you guys, hope y'all enjoyed the video. Like, share, and subscribe. Make sure y'all cop the merch, and make sure that you get the weight loss formula. The links to that will be in the description box.